friends, happy September. In my house, that means it's spooky season. I feel like something is missing. That's better. Let's get into the books that I read in the month of August. The first book that I finished in the month of August was Blood Over Bright Haven by M.L. Wang. This book is about a woman named Siona, and she becomes the first female mage in a futuristic or alternate world from ours. And how they use magic is they siphon it from other places and like kind of have a reserve. It's a very interesting magic system, but Siona discovers a secret that's not really secret once you become a mage and does not agree with the ethics behind it. Kind of works from the inside out to try to take down the system. I really, really enjoyed this book. I ended up giving this book a 4.5 stars. I would definitely recommend this to anybody that has an interest in fantasy. She did such a wonderful job of balancing Siona's determination with the male protagonist's ethics, because they conflicted quite a bit, at least in the beginning of the book, and then as things progressed, Siona started to change her ways and realized that, oh my god, her way is wrong. Once that facade started cracking, she was able to see things differently, and I really, really enjoyed that. There's a little bit of a slow burn romance in this, and I also enjoyed that as well. It's definitely a good book. It's got a little bit of everything for everybody. The only problem that I had with it, it is definitely on the nose with its feminist remarks, because everybody treats her like crap, and I can't tell you how many times in the book it mentions because she's female, because she's a woman, because she's female. That part got a little old real fast. But other than that, 4.5 stars. The next book that I read was First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. This is the same author that wrote Love Light Farms, and I read that and I have enjoyed that book. I did not finish the series though, but it's cute. First Time Caller is about a man named Aiden, and he works for this radio show, and he has this like late night love advice hotline kind of situation. And our female protagonist's name is Lucy. Lucy comes home and finds her daughter on the phone at 10:30 at night, and she's like, what the heck is going on? And it turns out that her daughter has called the radio show trying to get her mom a date. And so the radio show actually reaches out to Lucy and tries to get her on the radio show so they can get her a date and hopefully bolster the ratings of the radio show as well. And it works. Lucy starts to come on the show with Aiden, and they have this cute witty banter, and of course there's a little romance between them, but it's so cute. I really, really enjoyed this book. There's so many good family dynamics in this book, and I just really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 stars. The next book that my husband and I finished is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. This is the 5th book in the Harry Potter series. I'm a fan. I've already read all of these, but my husband has not read these, so we read them together. He reads them aloud to me at night. It's just something fun that we really, really like to do. But we finally made it through this tome of a book. We started it in March, and we finally finished it this last month. For anybody that doesn't know what Harry Potter is about, it is about this boy who finds out he is a wizard and is taken away into the magical world of Hogwarts, where he is trained to use his magic. As the books progress, there is an evil man that comes back from the dead, and he is out to kill Harry. And so in the 5th book, we follow Harry as a 5th year student, and he's not only up against the evil man Voldemort, but he's also up against this evil woman at his school named Umbridge. And for anybody that has read the books, I feel like she is way worse than Voldemort, because Umbridge just does what she does out of pure spite for kids. Like, she hates children. Like, why did you take this position to work with kids when you hate children? Like, I just hate Dolores with a passion. If you've seen the movies, then you know what I'm talking about. But I will say in the book, there are quite a few differences, because you don't get to see the kitchen with the house elves in the movies. You don't get to see Peeves the poltergeist in the movies. And those are some of my favorite characters in the books. It definitely makes a big difference if you read the books. I gave this reread of 4.5 stars. The next book that I read is The Games Gods Play by Abigail Owen. This book I actually read for a reading vlog. If you want to go check that out, you can. This was really the only book that I really enjoyed off of that TBR that I made for myself. This book is about a woman named Lyra, and she works for a den of thieves, and she happens to meet Hades, who decides to pick her as her champion for this competition that comes around every 100 years. In this book, she has to go through 12 different tasks in order to complete this game. Along the way, she meets very classical Greek mythology creatures such as Cerberus, the Sirens, Minotaur. There's a lot going on in these books. I really, really enjoyed this book. And there's a new one coming out in October, which is good because this last one left off on a cliffhanger. I ended up giving this book 4 stars. The next book that I read is Lights Out by Nevessa Allen. Y'all, first of all, I have a reading vlog on this, so if you want more detailed thoughts on this book, but I'm just gonna leave it at that. It's about a woman who ends up being stalked by a man and they form a relationship. That's basically the best way I can sum it up. If you want more details on it, go watch my reading vlog. I gave this book 2.5 stars. The next book that I read is Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. This book is about a woman named Laurel, and 10 years ago from when the book is set, Laurel's daughter Ellie went missing. Now in present day, Ellie's remains have been found, so it's very fresh for Laurel. It's like it just happened. She's got Ellie on her mind, and she ends up going to a cafe and meeting a man named Floyd. Floyd takes an interest in Laurel and they start to date. There's something going on because Laurel is convinced that Floyd's daughter Poppy looks exactly like Ellie. The more she starts to dig, the more she starts to uncover, and it is just a page turner. I really enjoyed this book. I gave it a 4.5 stars. There are so many different layers to this story. You're wondering what's going on with her other kids. You're wondering what's going on with Floyd and Poppy and his daughter Sarah. Like there's just so much going on in this book. And you're going to be flipping through it so quickly. I do have a reading vlog coming out about it, so if you would like to watch that, subscribe. The next book that I picked up is Iron Lake by William Kent Kruger. I'm part of an online book club, and it's literally called Random Book Club because you send books randomly to each other, and this was the book that I got. And based off the synopsis, I did not think I was going to like it. I thought that this is a man book and it's just not for me. I thought it was going to be like a Western. And let me tell you, I was wrong. I was wrong. This book is like Longmire meets Fargo. We follow Cork O'Connor. He is looking for a missing boy who is the paperboy. So he starts going on the paperboy's route, and it is snowy. Phone lines are down because the snow's got everybody trapped in their houses. It is desolate and isolating. That's how snowy and cold it is. And you can like feel it the way this book is written. Cork goes looking for the paperboy and turns up at the judge's house and finds the judge dead. So this is like where our mystery begins. Did the judge kill himself? Was he murdered? What happened to the little boy? Also, the little boy's father is rumored to be back in town, but we're not 100% sure about that. Like, there's so many aspects to this story that just kept me interested and invested. And poor Cork, he is kind of just stuck in the middle. He's got a girlfriend named Molly, and then he's got his ex-wife who kind of wants to repair things with. So there is that aspect as well that kept me invested. I guess this is a whole series. Cork just goes through a lot in this book, and I don't know how he could even continue on in a book series because Cork, are you okay? Are you okay, buddy? So it's like Longmire because there is the balance between the Native Americans and the white people, and Cork is kind of that go-between because he's half Native American and half white, and so he's very like stuck in the middle of both sides of things. And I really enjoyed that dynamic. Actually, I think that there is something so cool about Cork's dreams in this, and that it adds more to the story and kind of gives you this glimpse into the Anasabi tribe's beliefs, at least according to William Ken Kruger. But I enjoyed this way more than I thought I would, and I would definitely recommend picking this up if you are skeptical about going into like a man novel as a woman. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. I ended up giving this 4 stars. The last book that I read in the month of August was The Secret History by Donna Tartt. This has been on my TBR for so long, and I'm so glad that I finally got around to reading this. I can see why it's a classic. Oh, I'm not okay after finishing this book, guys. In this book, we are following Richard. We are reading from his perspective. He decides that he wants to go to Hampton College in Vermont. He's from California. When he gets there, he decides that he is going to take Greek, but the Greek class is very, very limited, and the teacher does allow him to join. He is one of 6 students, and the rest of the group is very tight-knit and decide to take him in as one of their own. Well, in the beginning of the novel, we find out that there is a murder. Through this novel, we are following him through his year of college there. It is so beautifully written. I love Donna Tartt's prose. Let me just give you a little glimpse of her writing. After class, I wandered downstairs in a dream, my head spinning, but acutely, achingly conscious that I was alive and young on a beautiful day. The sky a deep, deep, painful blue. Wind scattering the red and yellow leaves in a whirlwind of confetti. This whole book is just written so beautifully, and there's a point in here where Richard is like seriously in danger of freezing to death, and he talks about his descent into madness, and while you're reading that portion of the novel, you really start to feel like you're going mad with him, and you can just feel the bone chilling cold that Richard is going through. Like, I don't know how else to describe this book. Like, it is just so beautifully written. You don't necessarily like or dislike any of the characters because they are all flawed. At the end, my jaw was just on the floor, and I still don't know how I feel about this book. It made me cry. It made me want to throw my book. I also feel like Richard is an unreliable narrator. That's kind of part of the fun of reading this book. Also, fun fact, this is the very first dark academia book that was ever written. Donna Tartt kind of created that genre, and I'm here for it. That is one of my favorite genres to read. I ended up giving this book 4 stars. I will say that it is slow in parts, and that is part of why I gave it that rating, is because there's not a lot of action in between the big moments that kind of stand out in my mind. There's a lot of character dialogue, but not a lot of development. For that reason, I'm giving it a 4 star. Total, I read 8 books this month. I read 5 physical books, 2 audiobooks, and 1 ebook. I read a total of 4,163 pages. The shortest book that I read this month was Then She Was Gone, and it was 359 pages. So that should tell you a little bit about these long books that I was reading. I averaged 134 pages per day. It took me about 5.6 days to finish, not including Harry Potter, and then my average rating was 4. I read 7 female authors, 1 male author, and 5 new-to-me authors. I read 1 YA, 7 adult books, and then I read 3 fantasy, 1 romance, and 3 thriller. And then my favorite book of the month was Blood Over Bright Haven. I think that book is going to live rent-free in my mind for quite some time. I did enjoy the magic system. I thought the world building was excellent, and I just really enjoyed it. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'm so excited for spooky season. Let me know what y'all do for spooky season, and if you are still hanging out with me, leave me some fall leaves, because I think that was the perfect description coming from The Secret History. This is such a good atmospheric book if you want to get in the mindset of a autumnal and wintry vibes. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you soon in a new video. Happy reading. Let's get into the books that I read in the month of September. Oh my god. Let's get in the books. The next book that I read is The Game God. The Game, oh my god. And honestly, it's forgettable because right now I couldn't even tell you what it's about. Hold on. Series is set in Wyoming. This series is set in Minnesota or Michigan. You're gonna be shocked. Let me just read you a little something something. Oh, did I tell you guys what I gave